Okay, this video is going to talk about how to find the distance between two numbers. So taking the notes from page 4 and 5, we're going to be on page 5 now. And so on number 8 here it says using the math class to calculate the distance between two numbers. Now we did the math class up here. We used we used random method from the math class to produce random decimals. And so here we're going to use a math class that is going to, or a method from the math class that's going to calculate the distance between two numbers. So just there's no fill in the blanks, so just write notes here that are going to be something you can refer to later and make them neat, useful notes. And I'm going to demonstrate this though in JGrasp. And in here you do not need to follow along as far as in JGrasp. You just watch this though and take notes as you watch this. And so what we see here is we're going to have two numbers, in this case 20 and 25, and they're stored in two variables, and we're going to find the distance between those two numbers. And so the situation is typically you would subtract and then see what happens. And so let's say I have two numbers, 20 and 15, and so we're going to print that distance right here. And so we do that, and of course we get 5, and so everything's great. But now what about, let's say num2 is actually larger, and so what's that going to do? Of course that's going to produce a -5, but we want the distance between two numbers to be positive. It's just like you don't say the distance from Phoenix to LA is -562 miles. You want to be able to say it's 562 miles. It's a positive number. And so in our regular math class we're used to doing something like this. We would take and put a symbol like this and a symbol like that, and there you go. And absolute value, this is absolute value. And so it would take these numbers, 20 minus 25 would get -5, but then it would produce a positive number. Okay, now in Java now we can't use those symbols, and so for producing absolute value, so we use the math class, and we use the ABS method. And so we put the parentheses around here, and then notice then it'll take a situation where the subtraction or the difference between the two numbers is negative, and it will produce a positive. So see, now it's a +5. Alright, and so that's how that works. And because now, how do you know? It's very important to understand this. You're going to when you're going to store the result of the absolute value in a variable, that variable needs to follow the principles of Java math. These two operands, this is an int and an int, so the result is an int. Alright, so but now you got to be careful because if at least one, just like always, if at least one of the operands is a double, and we're going to bring that up here, if at least one of those operands is a double, let's take num3, and let's say num3 is 6.2, and so we go num3 minus num2, and then what's the distance between those two numbers? Now num3 is a double, and since one of the operands is operand, one of the operands is a double, the result is going to be a double. And so we demonstrate that here, and so it does produce the positive 18.8. So you got to be careful, because if you put an int, it's going to cause problems. It is going to give you an incompatibility types error, which you can't convert a double to an int. Alright, so that is how this is using the math.abs method to find the distance between two numbers, and that's how it works.